Hey guys, so someone sent me a message and they wanted me to give my testimony. So yeah, I just wrote down like a bunch of notes just in case I forgot anything because just wanted to get like a lot of it out there. Now, when you hear my testimony, you're going to be like, "Wow, you're like really dumb," because the Lord has always just like been so in my face. Like, Sarai, get right. Like, what are you doing? Get right. What are you doing? Like, he's given me so many chances, and that's why, like, I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I have now because, like, I'm surprised. Like, our God does not give up. He really does not give up. And he's predestined me. Like, I'm pretty sure, like, I'm sure that like the Lord works in everybody's lives, but I feel like for some people he just knows that they're just pure wicked and he like predestines those people that he knows are going to be like mighty workers for him, that are going to be soldiers for Christ, cuz he saw that there was like something in me and I never let go of him, like he saw that there was, I don't know, like I always felt like I had a calling, I always felt like the Lord was going to use me in the end of times. And I don't know, I just, for some reason, I knew that. And I didn't know exactly how He was going to use me, but I knew He was going to use me. But anyway, let me start this out. Alright, so I was raised in a Christian church, and this church was, I'm very blessed to have been raised this way because a lot of people don't learn about the end of times and their churches don't touch base upon it and they just like never know unless they read the Bible. And my church was very big on the tribulation and all that and making sure that everybody knew about it. So I was raised really well in that. And I learned everything you needed to know, like Noah's Ark and Jonah and David and Goliath and Sodom and Gomorrah. I knew all the stories and all the parables that are in the Bible. And I don't know, I just never thought, I thought the whole Bible was like that except for the end of times thing. Like, I didn't really, like, I knew the Bible taught you good stuff, but I just never really read it. And I was a Christian for my whole life, and not until this year did I actually get up and use my eyes and actually start reading it. Little did I know that that's all I had to do in order to become in a relationship with the Lord. Like, I was just, I don't know, I'm not all the way there. Psh, whatever. Anyway, so I went to that church, but the only thing about that church was it was like really boring because it was like full of old people and everybody had like they had their hymns that they would sing, but it was the same repeated hymns with like a people that sung out of tune, and everybody had a tambourine and everybody was just off beat, and the music, like, it was hard to get into worship. Like, you would just stand up when you were told and like clap your hands, and yeah, I don't know. The only people that seemed to get into it was the older group, you know. They would always be like, "Oh, I feel God's presence here right now," and I would just be like, "Okay." Like, I literally thought that they were just saying that, Like, I never felt the Holy Spirit. I didn't know that you could actually feel God there. Like, I just thought they would always say that. And we'd go to different churches and you'd see people that are actually like around my age, and they'd be like falling out on the floor, and I thought that that was just like, I don't know, like, I had no clue. I knew they were getting the Holy Spirit, but I didn't know how to get there. And I just like always got mad that I couldn't get there, and I always wanted to like feel God's presence. And I didn't know how to do it. I didn't know how to go about it. But I considered myself, a Christian, and I went to church on Sundays, and then the rest of the time I would be going to school. Anyway, as I grew up, when I was 14 years old, I think, I left that church because I found another church that was actually 2 blocks away from my house, and that church was called Journey. Now, when I was there, I actually started getting into it. I finally found a church that like I could get into the worship, and the sermon was like easier to understand, and it was a youth group. So I saw a whole bunch of people that were like around my age, and like I really got into it, and it was like awesome, and I loved going to church. Like, I don't know, there's something about church that whenever I'd be there, like I just feel myself and at home. Anyway, later on, little by little, temptations started to go in. You get older and then you get peer pressure and all that. So as I got older, this was when I met my first boyfriend. I was like 15 turning 16 around there, right? Yeah, 15 turning 16, and I was in alternative school because I was like always truant. Like I did not like going to school, so I would like hide in my closet and stuff just so I didn't have to go to school. Like I hated school. Anyway, so I went to that alternative school, and at this around this time I was like really depressed because I was like overweight and I hated myself, and I would listen to like emo music and stuff, like rock music, like Under Oath, and who else? I don't know. I was really into like the alternative music, and I was just like Hollywood Undead was a big one, and I would always like I don't know. I was just always antisocial, whatever. And around the same time, my brother had passed away, and I just like I don't know. My whole world was just like whatever. So I met my first boyfriend, fell head over heels with him, and I don't know, he was like not on the same level as me. I was this goody goody church girl, and he was definitely all up in the world, and I just found that so alluring. Like I don't know, there was something about him because he had done so many drugs, and I just thought he was so awesome. He was, I don't know, I was into him because he was a bad boy basically. He had done acid, coke, smoked cigarettes since he was 12. He smoked weed since he was 12 too. He drank, and I had never drank except for once at that time. And like I was such a good girl, and I was waiting till I got married in order to you know, do the deed. And anyway, I started going out with him, and I wanted him to like me more, so I started smoking cigarettes. And then I ended up getting into a relationship with him, and I smoked weed for the first time with him because I didn't want him to think I was like, I don't know, a goody goody. Because he would always call me prude, and I didn't know what that meant. I had to like Google it and everything, and I was like, I'm not prude, blah blah blah. And I don't know, I just acted like I wasn't a virgin when I was, and I just wanted him to like me. I don't know, I just wanted him to go out with me. Basically, I was like obsessed with him. Anyway, I wound up getting him, and at this time I started going out with him, and I started showing all my friends like how to smoke weed, how to roll blunts, and how to smoke bowls and stuff. And I don't know, I was all about that I thought I was awesome. I thought I was like the coolest kid ever, like smoking blunts and stuff, and I would talk about it all the time. And I don't know, I just hung out with him all the time. Then I stopped going to church, and me and him got more serious, and he wouldn't come to school, so I wouldn't go to school. I'd skip school and go hang out with him. Then little by little I ended up moving out of my house and moving in with him. Like during the entire relationship when I was with this kid, I was in such a trance and so sucked into sin that I did not realize, like, you guys are gonna think like I'm like the most stupidest person ever. Like I'm not stupid. I'm really smart, but I don't know what was going on with me. Like I was in such a trance, and after the weed, it was something between the weed, the pills, and the drinking. Because I was doing Oxycontins, Vicodin, Xanax. I was a druggie after that when I met him, and like to go from a Christian goody goody girl that doesn't do anything to a little druggie is just like your whole world is just flipped upside down. Anyway, I was like having the time of my life. And yeah, like I still prayed and stuff here and there, but I did not even know that I wasn't living at home. Like it's weird because I was sleeping over his house every night, and at first I was like sneaking out my window, and then my parents started coming every Friday after church. They would come try to pick me up, and I'd be like, "What are you doing here? I'm not coming home." And I was 16 years old at this time. They'd argue with me, and I'd be like, "No, bye," and then close the door in their face. Like I was bad. I was like really bad. So yeah. Anyway, I stopped going to church, stopped hanging out with my friends, stopped seeing my family all together, and just like alienated everyone. And they were always like worried about me, and I just didn't care. I was just living my life. I was like, why are you worried about me? I'm fine, you know. Anyway, I was 17 at this time. Oh yeah, because we went out for 1 year and then we went out for 2 years. Well, whatever. You guys don't really care how long we went out. Anyway, the second year we went out, I was living with him. All right, so anyway, let's end that. Towards the end of the relationship, I was smoking my last blunt. Well, not really my last blunt because I smoked like a couple more after that. But this was like when I decided that's it, I'm not smoking anymore. You know, I'm gonna get my life right. I had the Visitation by an Angel, which you can watch that video. After that, I was totally like reading the Bible for the first time. I wanted to know more. The Lord had spoken to me once, and it was just like such a big thing. And for him to come in my little brother, like, so I didn't get scared, and just like enlighten me that I don't have to be worried, that I'm going to be with Jesus. I just felt like, all right, good. Like, I don't have to do anything. Like, great. My life's insured. I don't have to worry anymore. So I'd still pray. I fell back into my old ways. I kept doing what I was doing. I didn't heed the message that I was supposed to go and preach what had happened and tell other people at church, but I knew I was supposed to, but I didn't do it. I ended up forgetting about it. I told like a couple people here and there. So then I remember me and him ended up breaking up. I ended up jumping into a relationship with somebody else. And when I jumped into a relationship with somebody else, it was like legit, like I cheated on him and went out with someone else because I was like in lust with them. And then I cheated on that kid with 3 people. Like, I became a little whore because I was like really mentally messed up at this point. Like, I don't know. I went through so much depression because Chuck, which was my ex-boyfriend, he like started having suicidal thoughts. His life was a mess. His mom was kicking him out. He had to go to welfare, blah blah blah. It was a whole bunch of BS. And I don't know, it was really stressful on me. I was like losing a lot of weight, and I was throwing up because I was so stressed at the relationship. I kept on breaking up with him, and you know how it goes. And then we finally split up, got into a relationship with the other kid, cheated on him with 3 guys. Then I was single. Now, I've been single, like, that was the last person I loved, the second kid. I was single since him for this entire time. That was since I was 18, right? No, 19, since I was 19 years old. I'm 21 now. So yeah, I've been single for 3 years, and ever since then, all the rest of my boyfriends have just been like BS boyfriends. Like, I did not have feelings for them. They just asked me out, and then I was like, okay, or I was just like looking for a relationship, and I ended up going out with people. Like, whatever. They liked me, I liked them. Okay, fine. And I had like friends with benefits. Like, I had like a couple friends with benefits. Like, I was just nasty. You know, I was nasty, didn't think anything of it. I was always going out on parties and stuff and getting drunk, getting high, not caring, sniffing coke, you know, like, I did it all. Anyway, so after this, I had gotten into 2 friendships that ended up making me become like the illest party girl ever. Like, everybody in my town like knew who I was. I was always out, always at parties, you know, every day of the week, Monday through Sunday. At this point, I had met my friend Sammy. When I met Sammy, this was like 3 years ago, when I was 20. I met Sammy, and we started hanging out all the time. We became best friends instantly. Like, it was like we kept on, every party I went to, she was there, and we'd like find each other in a sea of people. Like, it was amazing. Like, I love that girl. Anyway, she's still my friend till today. Anyway, so me and her started being friends, and she's not real. She doesn't. Well, I don't know. You know, she's not religious or anything, but she does like have her faiths in a higher power. That's what she says. And anyway, yeah, so she's a little druggy too. So me and her got together great. We would always go out, party, you know. And then, Yeah, at this point, sex meant nothing to me. I was like being a little whore here and there. Then one day, this girl Andrea, which is her younger sister's friend, this girl's like 16 years old. She comes up with the idea. This is when I had my car. She came up with the idea that we should do Molly, and I was like, "What's Molly?" She told me it's MDMA, and I researched it. And MDMA is the potent form of ecstasy. So we decided to do it. I was like, yeah, sounds awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Like, I'm totally down for that. I've never had a hallucinogen before, and I think that this is going to be amazing. So, yeah, so we got it, drove there, got it, picked it up, went back to my house. I mean, not to my house, to Sammy's house, and we did it. As we started doing it, I started to feel weird, and it was like, I'm sorry, I'm telling the complete truth. It was awesome. It was like amazing. And I didn't think anything was wrong with it because it was like pure or whatever. So I was rolling around on the floor, dancing like a ballerina. Everything felt amazing. It was like the purest form of happiness I've ever felt in my entire life. And I was like rolling around, and as I was rolling around, I started to pray because I was scared. Like, I heard like if you do drugs, like you can make yourself susceptible to being possessed. So I prayed to the Lord. I was like, Lord, just please just come into my heart right now. I was like, allow me to have a wonderful experience. I was like, please protect me while I do this. And as I prayed, like, I don't know, I just felt like amazing. And then we started getting into this conversation. When we were making this conversation, we were like, I always felt like I was a princess. I don't know why, but my entire life always thought I was a princess. My mom called me a princess sometimes too. And I don't know, I just truly felt and still feel like I'm a princess. Like I was meant to be a princess. And then we were talking about it. And then we got into this thing. And it was so weird. Like, it was amazingly weird. We were talking and we were talking about like the past and the way things are. I was like, my whole entire life, it's felt like everybody around me has always like wanted to know me, like they always wanted to know more about me, always wanted to be around me. It was almost like they were my royal subjects. Like that's what I was talking about. And then all of a sudden I had like a vision, but it was so weird because we all felt like we were the same person, that we were literally like they were connected to my thoughts, and we were all like talking like the same words and finishing each other's sentences. It was odd. But yeah, I saw this vision where it was like how God made up my name, and it was very odd. And I was just like, yeah, and he and the angels, they all just decided to call me Sarai. And then when we said that, like we all said it together, and then we were all like Sarai, and it was like the angels, and then I could literally see my name in like the book of life, like it was a storytell book, and then my name was engraved in gold, and it was written like a storytell lettering, and then it was really nicely decorated on like some old, like it would look like a Bible, like it was so pretty. And then yeah, and then I was like, and everybody's gonna know my life, and we just kept on going on, and I was just like, everybody's gonna know my life, and they're gonna know what I did, and they're gonna be like, know my story, and this is my life. And I don't know, I was bugging out. All right, anyway, let me not carry on about that, because you guys are probably like, wow, she was on drugs while all this was happening. But you have to understand, like, sometimes God shows you visions while you're on drugs, because I even knew someone, when I went to Acquire the Fire, this lady was talking to me, and me and her could connect upon that, because she told me about how she fooled around with drugs, and she was on mescaline, and which is a hallucinogen, and she was staring at the wood grain, and it was swaying. And then as it was swaying, that she ended up seeing the whole wall went on fire, and then there was a hand, and it was God's hand, and it was pointing to her, and then it pointed towards the fire, and it told her, like, basically, if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to hell. So yeah, let me stop this video, and then I'm gonna redo the next one.